stuff on the first page. But now she knows how to swipe.
I want the hearing aid thing on the front page.
Good idea.
Okay.
But I didn't want to fool with it.
You know how to do it. You wiggle it, hold it down and wiggle it, and then I'll do it.
So you see that all the X's, and then you can move. But sometimes that is tricky. You should do
It
that.
is. I will.
These are the ones I ordered.
These are
You
the
ready?
ones I bought.
They're kind of just like yours.
Yeah, these
Mine are Lauren.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Oh.
Quiet on the set.
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Okay, we'll see if this this microphone setup works for us. But I think we should be good. Okay, what did we talk about last time? Do you remember? Do you remember what your homework assignment was?
Yes, I do know what you asked me to think about, and I did. And you asked me to think of somebody who had made a great impact on my life that I,
Okay. Yes.
you know, and I can only go back to my family. My mother, I guess, was the biggest impact on my life. She was the one that I respected the most, and I had always been very obedient. She saw to that. In fact, I thought about this morning something that happened. My brother was 3 years older than I was, so he was a teenager. He was in high school, and so early teens. And my mother had told him to get up in the morning, and he didn't get up. And so she called again, and it was like that every morning. She would tell him to get up, and he didn't bother. He would wait until he was good and ready. And one morning, I heard her. She was in his bedroom, and the door was closed, and he was screaming. Mama went in and pulled those covers down and gave him a good. I don't know if she used a switch or her hand or what, but I was really upset. I was scared. I didn't know what was happening in there. But it's all because he didn't get up when she told him to. You did what Mama said.
Do you remember? Did he start getting up after that? Like,
Yes, he did. He didn't
worked.
have any trouble getting up.
So
And that's the only time I ever remember her punishing him.
But you talked about before, like you never really got punished or anything. Like the only time was with this confusing stories. But the time where like was it when you lied about the thing with your sister and you got spanked and that that didn't happen that often with you, did it?
No, we didn't. I know we both got paddled when Andy and I both got paddled one time when she came home, and we had been home by ourselves.
Right.
And we had had a good time jumping on the bed. And we knew we weren't allowed to do that.
Right.
So I don't know why we thought we'd get away with it, but we didn't. Somebody told on us, I guess.
I wonder if, like, as the youngest child, that you witness all of the stuff of your older siblings, and if that sticks with you, and you're like, no, I know where the limits are. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Or because we talked about that before. I actually talked to a friend of mine over the weekend about the unicorn story with Abby that we talked about a couple weeks ago, where it was just this debate about bringing this stupid stuffed animal to school, and it's that kind of stuff comes up all the time where the kids are like pushing the limits to see, how far they can actually get, and they keep pushing it. So I guess you have to set the limit first of all, but witnessing that from your other siblings probably helps a little bit.
Probably I don't really recall any specific incidents, but
well, that's good. Thank you for thinking on that topic or on that question. Do you want to get into it? Can we talk about some other stuff, or you got more?
I would say then in later years than when I was in high school and beyond, before I went to Washington. I guess Alpha, my one sister, I thought she was the breadwinner. She worked and she would come home with things, and she was just the type person that everybody said, when I grow up, I want to be Alpha. She was just that sweet kind of a person that could relate to
And you feel
you
like
in your
that
troubles.
that stuck with you
Yeah.
as well. Okay.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anyone else?
No, of course, my teachers, we really respected teachers, and then my sister that was Pumpkin, that was a nurse, and that was very highly respected, you know, and she influenced me a lot. She's the one that took me in, you know, she took me in and out of high school, and I lived with her, and she paid for my business course and advised me, but she wasn't there to tell me what to do or anything. It was like I was on my own, and I was expected to behave and
Right.
do right, you know, and I
Right.
did.
Okay. Cool. Anything else? Anyone else that you want to talk about?
I don't think so.
Okay. Can we go back to our chronological telling of events? So, I feel like last time we left off, it was like early 1950s. So we talked about going to Florida, and now unless there's anything that really sticks out in your mind, I want to talk about when and why and how and all of that stuff of moving out of Florida and back to Maryland.
Okay.
Can we talk about that? Let's start with
What
that.
comes to mind is when we moved back to spend a year in Washington from Florida.
Right.
And the house that we lived in was on 23rd Street, in case that's important. And it had a big rose garden. Oh, one whole side of the front yard was roses. And one of the things that if you rented that house, you were expected to take care of roses, which Jack did. And on the inside, in the house, we had a electric dishwasher. We had never had that before. And we lived there until, and we started going to Annapolis, that hour's drive on weekends, and visiting with the family, and that's when Jack's father offered us some property to build.
Right. So why did you move to DC from Florida? Did he just get stationed?
He was sent to a technical school, and then would have sea duty again. So we lived there while he went to the training school.
Okay. All right. So then you got offered to build a house. So what year was that? Like around what time do you think that was?
We signed. I just was checking on that. It was November 12th, 1954, when we signed the house.
And that's Robert.
When we signed the loan, got the loan. He had a hard time getting a loan
Really?
to make the payments on the house and for building the house. And he had just been refused everywhere he had tried to apply. And then we were walking on Main Street one day, and we passed by Annapolis Federal, and he said, I might as well go in here. I've been everywhere else. So we went in, and he came out with this big smile on his face. He got the loan,
Nice.
so we could.
Do you remember
to
how
build
much?
our house.
Do you remember how much it was for? In your research?
It was
Not 11.
$11,000. That's a lot of money.
To build the house? Like it was $11,000
Yeah.
to build an entire house in 1954.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
I know the loan was for $11,000, so it had to be.
Right.
Yeah.
That's great. Okay, nice. So, and this is the property on Ferry Point Road?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So how long did it take to build that sucker up and then move on in?
Well, within a year.
Hmm.
Because we were building before Christmas because I remember we asked them to save one little pine tree that was in the front yard. But during the time they were building, somebody cut that tree down. At Christmas time, they cut the tree down. What I wanted it left there for be our Christmas tree.
Right.
So.
All right. That's funny. Like it's funny to remember things like that, and you know it was Christmas because of this like weird little story. I think that's funny.
Exactly.
You remember that piece of it. So, built the house, and then you move in, and then you're in Annapolis, right?
Yes.
And that's where you stay for 50 years? More
Yes.
than 50, 55, 60 years-ish? That's crazy. That seems like a long time.
Really?
To stay in one house. That's crazy. Okay, so let's talk about that now. So it's 1954, 55. You moved to Annapolis in your own house. You have 3 kids, right?
Yes.
So we have 3 kids
Yes.
now. So what's going on for those? What do you remember of like the first, 5 or 6
We had to
years?
get Linda in school,
Mm-hmm.
and Lib was not old enough to go to school, and Tricia, the baby.
Mm.
And so I moved in. You can't picture Annapolis like it was then.
Mm-hmm.
You went down the Spa Road. In fact, they called our address Spa Road.
Mm.
Box 371, Spa Road.
Mm-hmm.
And but there was a neighbor who lived in the past us that knew that had been assigned the name Ferry Point Road,
Mm-hmm.
and she went to to the courthouse or wherever one goes to have the name changed, and she did have it named Ferry Point Road at the intersection of Harness Creek and Spa Road.
What do you mean? Like it was supposed to be Ferry Point Road and they just didn't do it?
And they hadn't ever put the sign up for it. I don't know how long that had been, how many years.
Right?
But she was the one who, Mrs. Kramer, remembered. She always resented not having that name.
So she just rolls down there and she's like, hey, you need to change this. And they're like, oops, sorry. Okay, here we go.
Ever how she did it.
That's weird. That's funny.
Yeah.
Okay.
And of course there were no other houses on that road.
And I mean, now if you drive back there, it is, I mean, I know Annapolis has changed so much, like any place, right, over that amount of time. But now when you drive down Ferry Point Road, it's still sort of, sparse and idyllic, with the large farms and property, and you go really far back and there's giant houses on the water. But they also have, as you're driving down, I know to the left, there's just little communities and that sort of thing. But, I mean, I can't imagine what it was like even longer ago. It's just, there would be nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
I have a few pictures of the time of our house, and one Tricia's little girl standing out in front of me. There are no trees around the house. We planted our own trees.
Oh, that's weird.
And there were no side roads. There was a family of Dravos that lived across the road from us, and you couldn't see their house. It was up a long driveway, and of course there were no side roads, not Lyman.
As things got built up over time, is it something that you recognize? So we talked about technology progressing, like as you just go through life. Like you just talked about having a dishwasher at the house in DC, and previously, I would ask what that transition was like. But at this point, I think we've established that it's just like, oh, cool, it's this new thing, and you just kind of get used to it. It's not revolutionary or groundbreaking or anything, but it is like a new thing that you adapt to.
You have it.
Right.
Yeah.
And then, but as you're living in a place for so long, how how fast, I guess, do you notice the changes? Because you're talking about just a handful of other families living back there,
Yeah.
and now I mean there's probably thousands of people
Yeah.
back there with the communities and all of that stuff. So is it something that you recognize? That like, did houses pop up individually? Was it just like, oh, we're going to build this new community? Do you
Well,
remember?
they did have Romar estates that were built when Tricia was 4 or 5,
Mm-hmm.
because she learned to ride a bike. Then she went down the new road. We called it the new road for a long time.
Right.
And of course, they have how many houses in there? I don't
24.
know. 24
Mhm.
houses there. Gradually, and of course, we were across the street, across the road from that new
Right.
road. And the new neighbors would come to my house, well, the first one, I
Mhm.
guess, did, and wanted to know what was in town, where could she find a meat market.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And I had to tell her about rookies.
Right. Rookies. Okay. You can't just look that up in the internet.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah. That's kind of cool.
Yeah.
The neighbor coming to figure out about things. But like.
But we still lived, our one neighbor was Jack's parents,
Right.
and the kids were big enough then to, well, Tricia wasn't, but Jack lived, and Linda could walk,
Hmm.
or we could walk that far. But as we always teased Granny, his mother,
Uh-huh.
when she'd be visiting and she would be time to go home, and Jack would always say, just cut across the field, and it won't take you so long to get
Right.
home. Of course, that was just a joke because she didn't walk very far anyway. She was a big
That's
lady.
rude. All right. What else about living down there the first couple of years do you remember? Like what other, like getting my mom into school, that sort of stuff. Was
Yeah.
that?
It was a big thing.
Yeah.
And
What school is this? What school did you go to?
St. Mary's.
The whole time.
Yes, we were influential. We knew we could get in because Jack had 2 sisters who were nuns who had graduated from there, and this is a Catholic school, so don't you know they want another?
Was that why you chose St. Mary's?
Yeah.
Do you remember?
I guess so, yeah.
Just because you could get in, and
Yeah.
why not public schools?
I don't remember how we considered why we decided. I guess Jack thought that was a really good school,
Hmm.
and it was.
And then, so now that you're back in Annapolis, like you've been all around, and I imagine that at this point the expectation is that you are going to stay in Annapolis for a long time if you're building a house.
Yeah.
Right?
Right.
So, is that different than moving back and forth between all of these other places where you kind of know that you may only be there for a couple of years? Like, do you
Yeah.
treat that
Oh,
differently?
definitely. This is ours now.
Right?
And we don't have much furniture, but we start getting furniture.
Mm-hmm.
And that's funny that I remember we took some furniture that had been put in storage that Jack's parents had,
Mm-hmm.
and a chest of drawers, which was a big, heavy piece of furniture with deep drawers and hard to move around. But we used it because we needed
Mhm.
furniture. We couldn't buy it all at one time. And I was talking to my friend Betty Browning yesterday, and we were talking about old times. She's turned 90,
Mm-hmm.
and she was one of my best friends when I got to know her here.
Mm-hmm.
And she said, well, remember, we borrowed furniture from other members of the family and used it for a while. And she said, remember that chest of drawers that I needed a chest of drawers, and you had an extra one? And then you decided you wanted it when you started to give it to me?
Mm-hmm.
And I said, she said, But Jack said there was another set that she could have, and so she said, I still have it. She said, my daughter Bonnie has it, and she lives in Norfolk. She
Yeah.
still has that chest of drawers.
Did you tell her that you want it back?
I don't.
I've been looking for that for 70 years. Whatever.
But she said she is still using it.
That's great.
Yeah,
That's quality craftsmanship.
yeah.
That's good.
Pennsylvania something furniture,
I don't know.
which was good. It's a good brand.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that's neat. What about like establishing yourself like within the community? Like, you know, just like your neighbor moved in and was like, "Where's the meat market?" Do you find a new church to go to? Do you find are there social clubs or whatever? Like, how do you start to figure that kind of stuff out?
Furthest thing from our mind. You
Really?
just move in and you get yourself settled, and
Uh-huh.
there's never an end when you own a new house
Right.
to building the fence.
Right.
I remember Jack building that 3-rail fence around our house, and after we'd been living there for a
Mhm.
while, and then we painted it, and I would be out there helping him, and
Mm.
we had, it was black at first, and we used something, what kind of oil?
Like a creosote?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I don't think you do that anymore.
Yeah, that's a unique thing in that area, driving around down Ferry Point Road and even back Love Point Road. Is that what it's called? It's off of Forest Drive, but
Yeah.
in that like very specific area of Annapolis, you see a lot of those like 3-rail creosote fences,
Right.
which is weird. Yeah, I doubt that you would do that now, or if you want that look or something
No.
like that, you just paint it differently or something like that. But
I
yeah,
remember when he built that fence, and it was a hard job.
Yeah.
You know, you order those long
right.
boards, and they're heavy, and
Yeah.
you have to have somebody hold them while you put the first, and digging the post.
Right.
You know, you had to have a post hole digger, and
Right. Yeah, but that's part of it, I guess. You have all of this property. How much property was it? Do you remember? Like that you guys actually were yours?
we only had 3 acres to begin with.
Mhm.
That's all. He asked Jack how much he wanted,
Mm-hmm.
and he said he would take 3 acres.
And he just bought
had
that from his
26.
father?
His father had I think it was 26.
Really?
That comes to mind, it's about that he owned, and he had a tobacco farm
Mhm.
there, and the tobacco barn, which
Mhm.
is still standing.
Mm.
And we chose the 3 acres the farthest from their house.
Smart.
And so, but and he ended up finding out that it was also the least fertile ground, because it was, the tobacco was planted till near the edge, you know, of the property, but then they didn't fertilize that part. So when Jack decided to put a garden in, it was rough.
Mm.
He didn't make it.
But he didn't buy that property with the intention of farming, or, you know.
No.
What? All right. Can we do a little side discussion here?
Mhm.
What do you know about tobacco farming? Because we were talking, Christina and I were talking. I don't remember, a couple days ago. We were sitting out on our back porch, and something came to mind. Like nowadays, you have this whole big thing with people brewing their own beer, craft beer, and even liquors and that sort of stuff. Like it's a big thing. And there's certainly, like, we've probably talked about this before too, where people like raising their own chickens and that sort of stuff, like very specific kind of crafty, artisanal movement, right?
Yeah.
And I was thinking about, like, if tobacco and cigarettes and that sort of stuff, clearly that is not good for you, right? So if for some reason like that wasn't as prominent, or that people just didn't know that as much, would that be part of like this craft kind of movement? Like would people be like, I have this special strain of tobacco that I'm growing in my backyard or something, so I was wondering, so what we were talking about, what are like the legalities of like growing tobacco? Could you grow your own tobacco? And
I'm sure they could. There was nothing had been discovered that was
Right.
harmful then. but he had stopped farming by that time. He didn't have the tobacco farm.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, well, they had horses,
Yeah.
and his daughter Putty had a horse.
Mm.
She built a house on the same, in between ours.
Right.
And she had the land where she had taught riding lessons and all that. But, so I don't personally know anything about it.
About tobacco growing.
Yeah.
What?
I know the barn was used where they told me
Right.
that the tobacco was held in the barn while it dried.
So of those 20 acres, how many houses were of that of our family? So his parents, his sister, and then you guys?
Yes, and then later, a grandchild, one of Pat's daughters, Mary, built a house in front of the big house.
Oh, that's right. We lived there. Forgot about that. We lived there, and so did Dave and Lynn. All right. So yeah, forgot that. So that's 6 houses on the property, and then other parts were sold off, and other people built houses,
No,
or
that's
not?
all there is.
It was just those 6 houses, and then so how many of those 6 are still standing now?
Well,
All of them still standing to this day, and
there's been another one, Libs.
right, we got that one. That would be 6, right? Babe?
Right.
Okay. Yeah. And how many are still in our family? How many people that we're related to live in those 6 houses?
Just tiny. The main house, that's his sister.
One.
Just one. Sold it
The
all
main
off.
house.
Original one.
The original one. Sold everything else sold off. How do you feel about that? Do you care?
No, I don't care at all.
Really?
Absolutely not.
Why?
I don't know, when I had lived there as long as I did, and I've heard people say how they go back and long for the house or
Right.
whatever. I was ready.
Yeah.
I'd lived there all that long. My husband had been dead, how many years? 3 years
Mm.
before I decided to move.
Mm-hmm. You're ready to get out of there.
And I have not regretted it.
That's great. That seems like the story of your life, basically. That you just make these moves
Exactly.
without any regret, and you're just like, all right, yep, let's do this. This is great.
Yes.
That's a good.
Make the best of what you have.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
yeah. That's what it seems like.
And I'm still of that feeling about this house. I love this house.
Yeah. And you're right down the street from your family,
Yes.
which is nice.
I still have my own independence.
Yeah, true. Yeah, that's good.
It's big enough for me to do whatever I want to do. I have my sewing room,
Right? Everything you need.
my kitchen.
Okay, before we fast forward 70 years, let's go back. We're still in the 50s. All right, so you guys have built the house.
And remember how many additions we put on it.
How many did you put on it?
We had, when we built it, it was living room, dining room,
Right.
kitchen.
Right.
3 small bedrooms with 3 small closets.
Mm-hmm.
And a full basement, unfinished,
Right.
of course. And a garage. You drove right in from the front driveway right into the garage.
Okay, so can we talk about this for a second? Because this is something that this is something that always, I don't know, not bothered me, but it's just something that's weird. When you're driving past the house, right? You drive up and there's a driveway, you could drive right, there's 2 entrances, 2 driveways, right?
Yeah, right.
Right? From all of my memory, the one that you would just drive right into that garage, the shorter one that is the front of the house,
The original.
right, where there is a front door to the house, right?
Right.
For my entire life, I don't think I ever entered through that front door, right? It was always you
Probably
drive
not.
around and go
Right.
through the little back door in the kitchen.
Right.
That would be a fine a fine thing that it would not be an issue, except for the fact that the same thing exists at my other grandparents' house, where we would always enter through like the sliding door or through the kitchen, like around the back of the house. Through that,
Yeah.
there's sort of two access points off of totally different
It was the
roads.
same thing at his parents' house.
What? Why
You
is it?
drive in the front driveway, it's a long driveway, and you drive around the front of the house to the back door.
Why? Why are you doing? Why do you? What is the purpose of having a front door? If nobody's ever even going to use it. Because it was so confusing, because you'd be like, yeah, go to the front door. And to me, the front door is just the door that you always enter through.
Yeah.
Which was not the case in this house. It was this just,
Well, it served its purpose. When we first built the house, we built the driveway to go directly into the garage.
mhm,
But then we put an extension on,
Right.
and we enclosed, it turned into we enclosed the garage and made a porch.
right.
And then we added a porch, a screened-in porch.
Right. Right. As
And
you,
we had a fireplace,
mhm,
and when we put the porch on, we made it be a double fireplace.
Yeah.
It was a fireplace on the porch.
mhm. Yeah, I remember that. I think I remember that.
Did have a fire there one time.
Okay. Once. Okay. So that kind of answers the question. As you get additions to the house, the access points change, I
Yeah,
guess.
so after we put that on and we put a back porch and put a deck, we hadn't had the deck yet, but then we put the other driveway in right at the edge of our property,
Mm-hmm.
and then curved it around to behind the house and had as you know, a parking area
Mm-hmm.
in the back
Right.
and the carport.
Okay.
So it served.
So we're still talking about the 50s, and I guess we're getting into the early 1960s now. So, when you think about the 50s, or when I think about the 50s from like a pop culture kind of standpoint, I think about, I don't know, I would say like Leave It to Beaver or something like that. That's not the best example, but you kind of get what I'm saying, where it's like, that's sort of like the feel of it. It's just like
Right.
family with the house.
Small
and
town.
Yeah, that sort of
Everybody
thing.
rode on their bikes.
Right, right. And from the way that you're telling these stories and just these experiences, it seems more accessible than something like Leave It to Beaver. Because you talk about like, you got to build this fence, you got to get this loan. It's still, you deal with like these life issues, right?
Yeah.
So it's not all like the history in these rose-colored glasses. So, and the reason I also bring that up is because now we move into the 60s, which was certainly more tumultuous than the 1950s, right? So let's sort of start scooching into that time frame. Do you remember, there are so many, political and public events that occurred, and social events that occurred in the 1960s. Do you remember of